Okay. But you guys haven't seen that one before. Hold on. What the hell? Oh my god. PSAs. These things are absolutely everywhere on the internet nowadays, which is for better or for worse. The thing is, to me, it's like the same people who have worked as writers for PSAs for years on end since like 1983 are trying their best to write the exact same way 40 years later in 2023. They always just come off like they're trying to appeal to Gen Z, or God forbid, Gen Alpha. This also applies to advertisements in general, which could have a whole separate video dedicated to it. Some of these PSAs are in like commercial form, but in general they are more or less still, you know, a PSA. Now, standard video essay cliches galore, let's not waste any more time and get started. We're gonna start with milk. Now, just a second ago when I mentioned how I feel like these writers have no idea where to go with the state of pop culture in 2023, I feel like this is a good example. One of their ads, or horrors as I prefer to call it, at least their new horrors, say, quote,
"Oh geez, superfood, gotta drink some milk, my dude. Milk hydrates better than water." Which,
no the it doesn't. Your body needs water and not so much milk. Why? Well, because your body is made of water. It's like 60-70%, something like that. And there are some benefits to milk. There's like good calcium and good protein. But besides that, it's a hard protein to digest. And according to the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, I couldn't find an author for that or anything, but I did look. Milk is a factor that is contributing to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and Alzheimer's. And it hasn't been extensively proven the next things, but it's also been theorized to link to ovarian, to our breast, ovarian, and prostate cancer. So that's 6 diseases. 6 possible diseases. Here's the source. So shut the hell up, Got Milk. You know, a better thing to do would be to advertise drinking water, shoving that in people's faces instead of milk, because milk is ultimately nowhere near as good as water. But besides the fact that the whole concept of got milk is blatantly wrong and has been for 3 decades, the ads, horrors, are absolutely awful now. I'm just gonna play like a few seconds of them so you can see what I mean. Sorry if your eyes melt off because, oh my god, they are like Disney's Wish level cringy. Worse than that, actually. Comparing the two is like a compliment. Apparently dairy farmers have to pay for this shit. I apologize. Alright, now that I've elaborated on why exactly I don't really like the Got Milk horror campaign, terrible horrors literally being built on a lie, it's time for the next and shortest part of this video.
She's got a smile that it seems.
Road safety advertisements. Now, to be perfectly honest, there is nothing wrong with road safety advertisements, like you don't want to die on the road or get seriously hurt, but I'm just a terrible person and find them funny. Like, I was watching Annabelle Creation a few nights ago, and there's a scene where their car breaks down, and like a family's car breaks down in the middle of the road, right? And the girl that partly goes on to, you know, possess Annabelle or whatever, she goes to pick up a screw from the road after it falls, and she says, "I'll get it." We're mentioning a car coming. It hits her, like, dead on. You barely see it, but I found that very funny.
There's a car coming. Why don't I wave it down and see if we can get some help?
No. I got it.
I'll get it.
And like the first one, and the first one I saw, nowadays I don't really think it's funny anymore. Now I get the point. If you haven't seen the one where the car like tramples the kids and like barrel rolls over a bunch of times, didn't find that at least slightly amusing, then you are not ready for Instagram meals. Again, finally the real cost, otherwise known as truth. I've done a whole video specifically on truth and the real cost before, but that video is absolutely terrible because I was a literal fetus and voice inflection made me think otherwise. I hate it. The video will never see the light of day again. Anyways, their whole point is to like curb vaping and smoking, right? So how do they execute it? Terribly. The ads come off as really cringy and try to make the person vaping and smoking look desperate, and it works, but in an entertaining way. Actually decent, but like it doesn't mean I wanted to see it. This is why Google Ads exists, because if you pay them enough money, then they'll just turn a blind eye. There are like the little lungs in a great big world commercials where the main character, who is a set of small, like deflated lungs, is trying to do activities with other big non-deflated lungs, and he dies in a gruesome way every episode.
My stunted lungs can't handle the stunt. Whew. That was cool.
And apparently that's supposed to tell people not to smoke and vape. I think that just completely doesn't make sense because your lungs are not living organisms. They're like they're living organisms like that make up your lungs, but you are like, as a person, I do not think your lungs are living organisms anyways. And then finally there's this one with a guy, I don't really know who he is, but I think they got him because he's famous for something, I'm not sure. And he's like,
if you vape, you could be inhaling toxic metals into your lungs. To show how scary that is, we made metal monsters.
you're putting nickel and lead into your lungs, which is true, most likely. And but then there's some like terrible CGI of that like going into your lungs or something, and it's so bad. And there's one where the main character turns into a wolf after smoking and vaping, and another one where a box gets delivered to this guy and it's literally just his teeth in the box. Anyways, the ads were all terrible, and not even terrible in a this is real terrible sort of way, like Breaking Bad, I guess. This was just, it was more just like a this was a terrible attempt terrible.